For many years, Helena was the rock for everyone around her. The one who held everything together, who kept the house in order, the children safe, the smiles in place. On the outside, she looked whole, but inside she carried ruins. There was a letter in her drawer written over a decade ago, never sent, addressed to herself. In it, Helena had listed every moment she believed she had failed, every decision she quietly condemned herself for. It was a long list and a cruel one, harsher than anything the world had ever said to her. But the thing on the list was not the worst thing she had done. The thing on the list was not even a thing. The worst thing she had done was not an action. It was the feeling she buried after. It was the constant companion of her life. It was the punishment she willingly accepted. She had lost someone not to death, but to time, a daughter who at 17 decided to leave. She said she needed to breathe. Helena never truly understood, but she understood guilt. For years, she blamed herself for not being enough, for demanding too much, for staying silent when she should have listened, for yelling when there was only pain. She felt like a failure as a woman, as a wife, as a mother. She carried all those labels like anchors that weighed her down. She was drowning in self-blame. And so she built walls, built them around her heart, around her memories, around her smile. She erased herself each day as punishment, always helping others, never herself. Then one day while cleaning drawers, she found the letter again, and something inside her broke. But this time it was not a collapse, it was an opening. She read every word of her own sentence, and she cried. She cried in a way she had never allowed herself to before. It was not a cry of guilt, it was grief. For all the pieces of herself she had abandoned along the way. That night, she lit a candle, folded the letter slowly, and held it over the flame. She watched the words dissolve into ashes and softly said, "I forgive you for everything you did not know, for everything you did while trying to love, for everything you failed while trying to do right. You were only trying to survive." And for the first time in years, she slept without the weight on her chest. Her daughter did not return, but neither did the guilt. What remained was space, space to find herself again, space to remember who she was before she disappeared. And in that space, something new was born, a gentle tenderness toward herself, a quiet desire to exist without punishing herself anymore. Every morning she looked at herself in the mirror and whispered, "Thank you for trying. Thank you for doing your best. Thank you for being you." It was the start of a new journey, a journey of healing, of self-discovery, of embracing the parts of her that she had buried for so long. She started small, taking walks in the park, reading books she enjoyed, reconnecting with old friends. Slowly but surely, she began to piece herself back together. She learned that forgiveness is not about forgetting. It is about remembering without hurting yourself again. It is seeing yourself with the eyes of someone who understands you did what you could with what you had in the heart you carried at that time. Years passed and Helena blossomed. She became a painter, something she had always wanted to be but had put aside for her family. Her art was raw, real, and full of emotion. It spoke of her pain, her growth, and her resilience. People connected with her art because they saw a part of themselves in it. They saw their own struggles, their own triumphs, and their own scars. One day, her daughter returned, older, wiser, and with a newfound appreciation for her mother. When they embraced, Helena felt no resentment, only love and understanding. She understood now that her daughter had just needed to fly, to spread her wings and experience the world. And she knew that when her daughter returned, it was not because she had failed, but because she had grown. Helena's story is one of healing, of growth, and of self-forgiveness. It is a reminder that we are all human and we all make mistakes. Sometimes we hurt ourselves and others, and sometimes those wounds can feel unbearable. But we must remember that we did what we could with what we had, and that the heart we carried at that time was the one we needed to carry. It is easy to get lost in the labyrinth of self-blame and guilt, but it is in the quiet moments of self-reflection that we find the strength to forgive ourselves. It is in these moments that we realize that we are not our mistakes. We are stronger, more resilient, and more loving than we give ourselves credit for. We often carry the weight of our past on our shoulders, thinking that we must always be punished for our mistakes. But this is not true. We have the power to forgive ourselves. We have the power to let go of the guilt and the shame and replace them with self-compassion and self-love. This is not always easy. It takes time, courage, and a lot of inner strength, but it is possible. As Helena's story shows us, it is possible to break free from the chains of guilt and embrace the freedom that comes with self-forgiveness. If you are struggling with guilt or shame, please know that you are not alone. We all have been there at some point in our lives. But please also know that you are stronger than your mistakes. You are more resilient than your pain. And you are more deserving of love than your guilt. You can start by taking small steps towards self-forgiveness. Write a letter to your past self, acknowledging your pain and forgiving yourself. Spend time in nature, allowing yourself to relax and be present. Connect with loved ones who support and uplift you. These are all things that help you heal and grow. It is important to remember that self-forgiveness is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of strength. It is the ability to acknowledge our mistakes, learn from them, and move forward without letting them define us. It is the ability to see ourselves with compassion and understanding. As Helena discovered, self-forgiveness is a gift we can give ourselves. It is the key to unlocking our true potential and living a life filled with joy, peace, and love. Thank you for listening to Helena's story. I hope it has brought you comfort and reminded you that you are not alone in your struggles. Remember that you are strong, resilient, and worthy of love. And when you are ready, take the first step towards self-forgiveness and embrace the freedom that awaits you. Always with care, I remain with you. Subscribe to the channel My Vessel of Light to continue to explore the depths of your soul and uncover the profound truths that reside within. Let the journey of self-discovery and healing begin.